Our spectacular baseball weekend continues tonight at sold-out Turner Field in Atlanta, where this evening we have Game 2 of our 3-game series featuring the Chicago Cubs and the red-hot Atlanta Braves. All year long, Braves baseball on Peachtree TV and Fox Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, The Right Stuff, and The Low Price. And a happy Saturday night, everybody, with my partner Brian Jordan filling in for Joe Simpson tonight. I'm Chip Carey. Welcome to Game 2. And how about the start to the weekend? All the fun began last night with Bobby Cox, number 6 jersey retirement.
What an outstanding day, Chipper. I mean, it started at the luncheon and then rolled over to the last night's game, Bobby Cox, number being retired. It was just great to see all the alumni, the 91 team. I've been a part of a couple alumni games, and nobody's been here, but it just rolled over into the game. I mean, 5 home runs by Atlanta Braves hitters, 2 by Dan Uggler. The streak continues. Everything worked perfect last night.
And the Braves blasted the Cubs and won the game, ironically, by a 6-run margin. 10-4 was the final score as they blasted Carlos Zambrano and the Chicago Cubs. It's a star-studded night for baseball here in Atlanta. A lot of Braves legends are wearing the Tribe's colors tonight. They relive the past, and we'll talk about that when we come right back. By AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by KFC. Our weekend-long celebration of Atlanta Braves baseball continues tonight here at Turner Field. We get you ready for the Cubs and the Braves Game 2. And again, Brian Jordan, a great day here at the ballpark. The Braves alumni taking on the 1991 worst-to-first team in a softball game before tonight's festivities. Great to see the old-timers back in the Braves uniforms.
Well, it was a lot of fun. The first thing you want to see is who's still in shape. Dale Murphy, the captain of the legendary team, and how about Bobby Cox? Always smiling. It was a lot of fun, man. Facing Tom Glavine, he's going away. I tried to pull him, of course. I couldn't hit him hard. Dale Murphy, the captain, pops up. But just to see the guys come back, have a lot of fun, this is what Atlanta Braves baseball is all about.
Yeah, it's great to remember your past and look forward to a very exciting future as Bobby Cox wearing a Braves uniform one more time after number 6 was retired last night. And, of course, John Sherholtz, the architect of those great 1991 teams all the way up to the present, alongside the skipper as well. Just a great way to start the festivities tonight. It's the Cubs, it's the Braves, a special weekend in Atlanta. Started with a bang last night. 5 homers for Atlanta. They routed the Cubs in Game 1. They'd love to do it again next. Part by Blimpie. Brought to you in part by Blimpie, by the Home Depot, by SunTrust, and by Hyundai. Crowd still filing in for Game 2 of this series here at Turner Field. Glad you're with us wherever you might be for the Cubs and the Atlanta Braves. A lot of fireworks during the game last night. Braves hit 5 home runs. Carlos Zambrano ejected. And his soap opera story continues today. We'll talk about that, Brian, as the night moves along. Cubs at 51 and 68 line up this way for their skipper, Mike Quade. His starting 9 presented by Suzuki. Starlin Castro, they think in Chicago's a star in the making. A very exciting young player, batting .309 in the leadoff spot. Bird, Soriano, and Tyler Colvin, a youngster, trying to get his sea legs under him. He'll play right field and hit 7th. Braves last night had a very productive ball game, and they hit 5 home runs. They won the game by a 10-4 final score. They also picked up a game on the Phillies. Braves watched the Washington Nationals knock off Philadelphia last night. The Braves, with a 5-game winning streak, now have the hottest run of play in the National League so far at 70 and 49. And they start play tonight 7.5 games behind the Phillies in the East. They have also opened up, Ryan, a 6-game lead in the wild card race.
That's very important because you got to figure the Philadelphia Phillies, with that team that they have, if they stay healthy, you're fighting for a wild card position if you're the Atlanta Braves.
And let's see if Derek Lowe can make it 2 good starts in a row. This is his 25th of the season, Brian, coming off a nice 6-inning outing against the Marlins in Miami.
Well, it looked like he started gaining confidence after he got through some trouble in the first 2 innings. He started commanding that sinker, started throwing that slider away again. and his confidence was built up. Today is going to be a huge game for him if he can continue to throw like that. We saw what happened last year, Chip. Late August, September, the team jumped on his back.
Derek at 7-10 on the year and a .478 earned run average. Got a lot of runs to play with early in the game last time out. He'd love the same opportunity tonight. There's the Braves' speedy outfield. Chipper Jones, a milestone hit yesterday. And David Ross back behind the plate for starter Derek Lowe. The umpiring crew, anchored by Jeff Kellogg behind the plate tonight. Joe and I, Brian, thought last night Tim Timmons did a terrific job in reading the mind of Carlos Zambrano and ejecting him and keeping order in store when Zambrano melted down last night.
Well, I think all the umpires know the past history of Zambrano, and it's probably a no-tolerance rule set for Zambrano. No warning at all. Tim Timmons did a great job after 2 balls in on Chipper Jones after a couple home runs and back-to-back home runs, and you got to get him out of there. And it's a shame, you know, even his teammates admitted that it was unnecessary. And Zambrano, as we heard, he may have retired last night, left the stadium.
Might have been the quickest unretirement, though, in professional sports history. He gave Brett Favre a run for his money. We'll talk about that in a moment, as the first pitch of the game is into left field by Starlin Castro. And the Cubs shortstop is aboard with nobody out. 91 degrees the temperature at game time.
Starlin Castro is a star in the making. This kid is no fear, very aggressive leading off the game. He's seen Derek Lowe before. He knows what he has, and first pitch he saw, he was swinging.
So Derek to the stretch immediately tonight with Darwin Barney up. And the Cubs second baseman in the midst of a 2-for-20 slump.
This is another good young prospect in the Cubs organization. I had a chance to talk to him before the game, and he said, Brian, this is a grind. 162 games. And I said, hey, get used to it because you're going to be around a long time. Very talented second baseman for the Cubs.
Out of Oregon State. Barney pinch hit last night in his first appearance against the Braves this year. 282 his average, a homer, and 34 driven in.
I think it's going to be very important that Derek Lowe gets off to a good start. If he gets off to a good start, we'll see the old Derek Lowe pitching with confidence. But we've seen him fall behind early, and all of a sudden the wheels just fall off.
In his last start, again, he went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, but really struggled in the first inning. Gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, but a key double play ball with the bases loaded off the bat of Gabby Sanchez kept the Marlins off the scoreboard. Well, the Braves jumped out and scored 4 their next turn up.
The reason he got off to a slow start, you could see it in his face. He didn't have that confidence. The sinker, he wasn't staying on top.
Hit and run. And that's off the glove of Ugla. And Castro will make third, and the Cubs have runners at the corners with nobody out.
Putting runners in motion early, the Cubs. Good piece of hitting by Barney. Saw the hole open over at second base. Drove the ball. Good effort by Ugla. Couldn't come up with it.
So more first inning trouble for Derek Lowe as Aramis Ramirez stands in. Ramirez, one of 3 Cubs with 20 or more homers this year. And he's at 10 of his 21 homers on the first pitch of an at-bat.
Well, Aramis was the one guy that spoke up about last night in Zambrano's actions. He felt like the back-to-back home runs, guys put their head down, they ran hard, and it was unnecessary.
High fly ball toward left field. Martin Prado's under it, makes the catch. Chipper points to second. The Braves will concede the run. That keeps the double play in order. Ramirez with his 72nd RBI, and the Cubs have scored the game's first run. Here's Carlos Pena. Pena, another man that likes to hit the first pitch. 8 of his 22 homers have come on the first thrown by an opponent.
Carlos Pena, another guy that, like Ugly, came over in the offseason, put a lot of pressure on himself early, got off to a slow start, but he's starting to come around.
Didn't hit a homer in the first 25 games for the Cubs this year, but has 22 now. And low ahead of him, no balls, 2 strikes.
One of the reasons that Derek Lowe get in trouble early, he's not getting on top of that sinker, staying up in the zone.
Pena pops one up on the infield, and Alex Gonzalez will make the play, and Pena pops out for the second in the opening inning.
But you can almost see it the first couple innings in Florida. He was coming more from the side, not getting on top of that sinker, and it wasn't dropping like you usually see from Derek Lowe. And Florida hitters really got on him early. But as the game went on, he started getting on top of it, throwing that hard slider down in the zone, and that's what we're used to seeing out of Derek Lowe, especially at the end of the season last year when he was pitching with great confidence.
And great success. I mean, you could make the case that Derek last September might have been the best pitcher in all of baseball with that terrific run in September for the Braves.
If you're Atlanta Braves fans, you're saying he's the guy that got you to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good point. And a strike to Marlon Byrd. Yeah, in September, Derek Lowe last year went 5-0 with a 117 earned run average. Gave up 4 earned runs the entire month.
That's when he's good. He's throwing that hard slider down in the zone, and it's breaking away hard.
And that was the pitch that was the difference maker for him last year.
That's right. That was the adjustment that he made last year. Really worked hard on throwing a better slider.
Slow roller. Chipper charges. Bare hand. Off balance. Got him by a quarter step.
Oh, that's Chipper Jones right there. Tailor-made.
He's 39, but makes that play better than anybody in the game still. Randy Wells, and they do so with this Suzuki starting lineup. Same group that hit 5 home runs last night. If it ain't broken, Brian, don't change a thing.
That's right. How about Dan Uggla? 229. Randy Wells, one of those guys that could look good one day and look terrible the next. ERA 6.05. And he's a guy that Mike Quad said he used to throw over 90. Now he's only throwing 86 to 88. He's not a strikeout guy. In 14 starts this year, he's given up 15 home runs. So he's getting that ball up in the zone, and hopefully the Braves can take advantage of it.
Michael Bourne leads things off for the Braves. I can't remember a night like last night, Brian, where the ball carried as well to center field as it did.
That humidity. I mean, usually you think it drops down, but...
Ground ball to second by Michael Bourne, one out.
That ball traveled well last night. But when you get the ball up in the zone like that, it's going to travel well. Zambrano had a tough night.
Gave up all 5 of those Braves home runs, did the Cubs starter. And now Martin Prado bats. Martin 0 for 4 in the series opener. Wells a guy that you can get early. He's given up 17 earned runs in the first inning this year. That's 17 of the 91 that the Cubs team has given up in the first inning this year.
Well, again, he's not a strikeout guy, so I would think the Braves hitters would be patient. Get ahead in the count, be very aggressive late in the count.
Randy will turn 29 in 2 weeks. He's pitched well in this park and was originally drafted by the Cubs in the 38th round as a catcher.
As a catcher?
He was a catcher. And then they moved him into the rotation shortly after drafting him. In 2004 is when he really started starting games in the minor leagues. That's yanked down the left field line and into the seats. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Prado.
Well, Chip, usually the catcher has the best arm out on the field. I mean, you know, to be able to throw the ball like they do down to second base from their knees and coming out of that squat, why not turn him to a pitcher?
It'll pop into shallow right. Tyler Colvin is under it. And Bourne and Prado are retired to start the game. Now Freddie Freeman bats. Another homer for Freeman. That's 16 on the year. That one came in the 5th inning.
Had a chance to watch Freddie and Gwinnett, and he's duplicating what he did in Gwinnett. Got off to a slow start, and as the season went on, he started making some adjustments and just continues to get better. Power numbers going up. And when you got a rookie hitting 3rd in your lineup for Freddie Gonzalez, you got to feel good about it.
And why is he hitting 3rd? Well, you do that as a rookie, you deserve to hit high in the lineup,
That's
don't
right.
you?
And he's just getting better and better. He's getting patient. His confidence is sky high.
And he takes one right back up the middle. That's the Braves' first base hit of the game and gives Dan Uggla his first crack at extending his 32-game hitting streak. And here is our Sunshine House leaderboard.
Dan Uggla just continues to get it done. Everybody was down on him early in the season. One thing Ozzie Smith always told me, a 282 hitter is going to hit 282. You look at Uggla's card, it's about a 250, 260 hitter. By the end of the season, he'll be at 250, 260.
Just think how much hot hitting he'll do to get that average up to 250,
right.
260. That's got to have Braves fans excited. And he's down a quick strike to Randy Wells. 26 homers and 60 knocked in for Uggla.
Chip, the one minor adjustment I've seen in Ugly, he's moved up on the plate. I know early in the season he was off the plate, and that outside pitch was giving him trouble. He finally made that adjustment, and now that outside pitch is a strike to him. Now he's swinging it at good pitches out there and driving that ball all over the field.
In the dirt, 2 balls and a strike. Look how deep Marlon Byrd is playing Dan Uggla in center field. I mean, he's playing in Alpharetta.
He's respecting the power of Dan Uggla, especially after those 2 home runs last night.
Foul pass to Ramos Ramirez. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And creeping closer to the top of the pile for the National League home run lead. Figured Pujols was going to get hot.
Wow.
How about Berkman,
that?
though?
Lance Berkman, but Pujols, after being out so many days from a broken arm, he is truly one of the best players, to me, in the history of Major League Baseball.
That just missed. Wells thought it was good enough. He takes a long look in.
Wow, that was close. Probably just a little low.
So Freddie Freeman will get a head start. Gapper might bring him home. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Cubs by a run in the first. Line drive, center field, base hit. Bird playing deeply allowed Uggla to drop that one in center field. And the streak moves to 33 in a row.
Wow. You just said it, Chip, how deep Bird was playing, and that was a low curveball. Down in the zone, Dan Uggla, his strength, drives this ball to center field. Good piece of hitting, keeping his head down on it, shoulder in. And that's exactly what Dan wasn't doing early this season.
So that's 13 times for Uggla where the streak has been extended in his first at bat.
Get it out of the way.
All the pressure's off now, right?
Take the anxiety away from the fans.
And now Chipper bats with 2 on and 2 out. Into center. Bird drifting back is there. And that retires the side. The Braves get 2 hits, one of them from Dan Uggla. His streak lives on. And after 1 inning, Chicago leads 1-0. Second inning with Brian Jordan, yours truly, Chip Carey, and let's welcome back the smiling face of David Justice.
Hey guys, it's really good to be up here. Brian, good to see you.
You too, man.
You know, it's been a long time, but I mean, it's great to be back in Atlanta.
Can you believe it's 20 years, man?
I cannot believe it. I really can't. It's amazing how time flies. But it's been wonderful though, seeing all the guys that a lot of these guys I haven't seen in 17 years, 16 years. So, it's been great.
Some of them still in shape, some of them out of shape.
Absolutely.
Now, that
is correct.
Well, how many people came up to you and said, David, you haven't changed a bit?
Well, a lot of people. But you know what I tell them? Hey, I might look like a Mercedes-Benz, but I got 300,000 miles on me. Just drive me around the neighborhood. That's it.
One and one is Soriano. Obviously, everybody in Atlanta remembers the 91 year. What sticks out in your mind? Obviously, the getting to the World Series and all.
You know what really sticks out in my mind is just how it seemed like we captured the hearts of, the city. The tomahawk chop. That was so special to run out of that dugout and see all those people with the foam tomahawks. And then also, when we got into the playoffs, when we would come home, there would be tons of fans at the airport. Mm-hmm. So, we fly private, and we'd have to get off the plane. We'd have to walk through the airport, wave to the fans and stuff, and then get back on the bus. But that was a special time. I mean, it was special.
How about the chemistry you guys had in 91? I mean, you had some characters on that 91 team.
Yeah, we did. And you got to understand, a lot of us came through the minor leagues together. And that's why we were such a cohesive bunch of guys because, we had spent so much time together in the minors that we were really like brothers. And then when you go out and you get guys like Terry Pendleton, Sid Bream, Alejandro Pena, Charlie Lebrand, we had Rafael Bellar, we had a great group of veterans, who knew how to play the game. And really did a good job of being there for the young guys.
Mm-hmm. When did you guys know that you had a good team? Not a team that was going to win the National League or get to the World Series, but when in your own minds did you know that 91 team was going to be a good club?
Well, as we were playing the season, first of all, let's go back a little bit. 1989, we won the Governor's Cup in AAA. And at that point in time, I knew we had great talent. And I remember hugging our manager, the late Jim Beecham, saying, hey, we can do this in the big leagues. 2 years later, we're going to our first World Series. So I knew we had the talent. I always felt like that from 89. We just had to take our lumps in 90. And then when 91 came around, about the middle of the season, I thought, you know what? I think we got a really good ball club. And if we just keep working, keep playing hard, I think we can do something.
How much fun was it playing with now Hall of Famer Deion Sanders? And I heard a lot of stories about that 91 team by Deion.
Look, Deion was great. Otis was great. Marvin Freeman, was the team clown, the funniest guy on our team, who really kept everyone loose. If you were at our luncheon yesterday or day before yesterday, and you heard our three pitchers, even though Maddox wasn't there, Smoltz and Glavine, Avery, those guys were some characters. They're funny. So our team we had a very fun-loving team, and Deion was part of that. One of the greatest athletes I think I've ever played with in Deion, and also one of the best team guys.
Who was the better football player? I'm going to put you on the spot, Deion or Brian Jordan?
Brian, by far.
Come on, man.
Listen.
You're talking about a man that's in Hall of Fame right now.
Brian, listen. It's just like comparing me to Glavine. You can't compare him. Nobody hit as hard as Brian used to hit. He was tenacious. But, he played hard in baseball, too. Deion was extremely fast. Guys like Deion don't come around too often.
You're right.
But guys like Brian right here, they're not a dime a dozen either.
Chipper Jones handles a bouncer from Soto. And there's the second out. One of the defining moments, David, of that 91 season had to be the game in Cincinnati. You're a Cincinnati kid, and this home run.
Oh, absolutely. People don't understand. This is the night that my high school paid a tribute to me. And this ball was actually hit where some of them were sitting. So that was a magical moment. I'll never forget that moment.
You hit that thing to Mount Adams, man.
But as soon as I hit it, I knew it was gone, and it was off Dibble, and I just knew the impact because people got to understand, that last week, we were so close with the Dodgers that every game was pivotal. We started that game down 6-0
yeah.
With Jose Rio on the mound. You get down 6-0, you don't think you're going to come back, but little by little we plugged away. Terry, I think, hit a home run, and before you know it, we were in that position. Man, that was a great game for us, and a game that we needed. obviously we won on the last day of the season, so that was a huge game for us.
Randy Wells, the Cubs pitchers in the box with Colvin at second. He doubled. Chicago leads by a run. And now 2 balls and a strike.
Well, I know you did a great job speaking at the luncheon on behalf of Bobby Cox, but tell me, what was that special moment between you and Bobby Cox in your career?
You know, one thing about Bobby is I used to feel like he expected me to be a leader on our ball club. You know, he didn't tell me a whole lot, but when he did tell me something, it was always something along those lines. And, you know, you got to understand, Bobby doesn't say a lot. And he didn't have a lot of rules. And like I said in the luncheon, but he was like a father figure. You know, sometimes as kids, you know, we were young, you get a little rambunctious. Bobby would always reel you in whenever that happened.
David, it's great to see you. Welcome back to Atlanta.
Thanks, guys.
Celebrate this 20-year anniversary. You're a big part of it. David Justice, Braves Hall of Famer. And we head to the bottom of the second.
Brought to you by Jameson Inn, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction nationwide for 6 straight years. Experience all the comfort and amenities you expect at an unexpectedly low price. Jameson Inn. Live large, pay less.
Our thanks to David Justice for stopping by for a half inning. I tell you what, you talk about a personality. He's
great personality.
He's got it.
Oh, fun guy to be around. And he's having a lot of fun this weekend, I'll tell you that.
As are everyone in Braves country. Now let's have some fun at the plate. Down a run to Randy Wells and the Cubs. Alex Gonzalez, David Ross, and Jose Constanza coming up for the first time tonight. Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves, 21 games above the 500 mark. That's a season high point. And this is a very important homestand for the Braves. Tonight's game tomorrow afternoon with the Cubs. And a couple of Western Division teams that the Braves can really knock down a few more pegs in that wild card race to follow.
Very important series with those two guys, Arizona and the Giants, because you control your own destiny. And that's a good way to really jump out there.
Alex drives one right center, and Marlon Byrd tracks it down. One pitch and one out. Speaking of those Western teams, Monday we hope you'll join us here at Turner Field for a rematch of last year's Division Series matchup with the world champion San Francisco Giants. Good tickets still available. Get them at Braves.com/tickets today.
But a real good chance for the Braves to pull away in that wild card against San Francisco and Arizona. And San Francisco struggling offensively. But Arizona, how about Arizona? He really surprising a lot of people. And give a lot of credit to Kirk Gibson. He's come in and did a great job leading that ball club.
Carlos Beltran's hurting for the Giants. He's got some wrist problems. And Arizona lost Xavier Nady to a broken hand. He was hit by a pitch last night. And here's how the wild card shapes up at the start of tonight's play. The Braves now 6 ahead of San Francisco, 6 ahead of the Cardinals. Atlanta will see both of those teams coming up here in the final months of this regular season. caught the inside corner, and David Ross will ask for that same pitch from Derek Lowe. And 2 men are retired.
It was just a good pitch by Wells. I mean, good sinker breaking in at the last minute. Last second, should I say.
And here's a guy that's really captured the imagination of Braves fans, haven't
man. He just adds a new dynamic to this Braves lineup. Speed. I'm really surprised at his power. 2 home runs already. But he's a guy that understands his assets, and it's legs, speed, put the ball in plays. He's not going to strike out a lot. And he'll look down at Aramis right now and see him playing in, and he'll try to slap it right over his head. Just knows how to play the game of baseball. And look at that, 444.
Now with 2 strikes, Ramirez can back up. But Stanza just has an amazing ability to outrun the baseball. And this one popped up shallow center and playable for Marlon Byrd. And Wells has an easy time of it in a scoreless second inning. He leads Derek Lowe and the Braves after 2. It's a 1-0 score.
Swung line drive left field. 1 run is in. Here comes Bream. Here's the throw to the plate. He is safe. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win.
Sid Bream, that never gets old, does it?
I tell you what, it's there are certainly great memories to that, and it was a great feeling for me to be a part of that, to help the Braves get on to the World Series, and not only for the Braves but also for the city of Atlanta. I mean, it was a great time.
You came here from Pittsburgh as a free agent,
mm-hmm.
and what was your thought process coming from Pittsburgh, knowing that the Pirates had a really good ball club, coming to Atlanta where the Braves had really struggled for many years?
Well, I just shared with somebody called me from radio and told them after the 1990 season we lost to Cincinnati up in Pittsburgh, the National League championship. And the next day, the Pittsburgh Pirates came out and said that Sid Bream's our first priority to sign. And so we were anticipating staying in Pittsburgh. And, we were very thankful. But through negotiations, they didn't even get close to market price on us. And when it came around to free agency, it got to the place where Atlanta gave us a great deal off the get-go. And to make a long story short, we went back and told Pittsburgh that we would stay there and take a lot less money if we could have a no trade clause, and they said no. And I said, well, if I'm your first priority, I hate to see what your last one is. And I came down here to Atlanta, and it was the best thing that we could have done.
It's funny how that happens, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
In my opinion, God had everything under control. He knew what was going on.
How much fun was it to play for Bobby Cox?
Bobby was. you know, in my opinion, Bobby is a true American League manager. I mean, he just sits back. He makes those subtle moves. He doesn't put pressure on you. He's not a micromanager. You know, he just he lets you go out and he lets you play the game of baseball. And when you need a swift kick, he'll give you a swift kick. But at the most part, I mean, he's in that dugout. You know that he's backing you up. If something goes on out in the field, you know he's going to back you up. And, you know, he was just that kind of a manager. I mean, you didn't have to worry about him over there. You know, I can remember one of my other managers, and you know, you made a bad play, he was up and down the dugout just barking, you know, behind your back all the time. Bobby was never like that. He always supported his team.
Right. Pitching and defense were always at the top of the list for Bobby Cox, and everybody knows Terry Pendleton, Rafael Belliard, and yourself were a big part in helping the John Smoltzes, Pete Smiths, and the Tom Glavins turn into dominant pitchers.
I mean, you put little Pac-Man out there at shortstop. I mean, he gobbled up everything, and then you put little stubby, you know, Pendleton over at third base. He could jump 45 inches tall. You know, he was up there, and he could play, and it was just a lot of fun to have him out there.
And David made a good point a minute ago too, Sid. That 91 club had a lot of young players that came up through the minor leagues together, but that team also had veterans who had had success in other places. When did you feel like you had to assume a leadership role with that club?
Well, I think that John Sherholtz, I mean, and that's, I give, you know, Bobby a lot of credit, but I give John Sherholtz a tremendous amount of credit in knowing what needed to be done, knowing what holes needed to be filled, bringing in the right type of people, because you did. You had your David Justices, your Ronnie Gant, you know, your Steve Averys and John Smoltz and Tommy Glavins, but they didn't have that leadership in order to tell them or teach them how to win. And, you know, and that's one of the things. I mean, Terry and I, we got together early in spring training, and we took a note. We watched that team and you know, started to do some assessments and started to realize, I mean, we needed to teach this team. They went out there for one reason, and that was basically to get their.
Wow, a liner off Freddie Freeman's glove on another hit and run. The Cubs have worked that to perfection in 2 innings in this game. Mike Quade trying to shake up his offense. And Eric Lowe in third inning trouble with nobody out.
How special was last night, Sid, being a part, Bobby Cox getting his number retired, seeing that 91 team back together again?
Well, actually, Brian, I wasn't here. I had to do some speaking up in South Carolina. I mean, and but I mean, that's a special thing for Bobby. I mean, I was so happy for him to have that day, for him to be able to celebrate, and he deserves it. I mean, and again, I really give a lot of credit to John Sherholtz as well. I mean, I just think he has done such a great job of molding, putting the players together that could come together and play championship baseball.
Do you ever have it? I mean, I'm sure the answer to this is no, but could you ever imagine that as you look up on that left field wall and you see all those championship banners, that the team that you were a part of got all that started?
Well, I mean, it's a great honor. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, and again, it's, you know, it's a commitment to, you know, the Braves ownership, you know, Braves general manager, Braves manager, that they knew how to.
Gonzalez is coming home. Late break by Castro, and he's tagged out. Throw back to second, not in time.
Well, outstanding play right there by Gonzalez, making that decision to come home. And a good job by David Ross digging this ball out of the dirt and then putting the tag on.
Not the greatest base running, but a third guy on third base, I can tell you that.
Oh,
he's 21.
Mistake. 21 years old.
You were 21 once, Sid, right?
Yeah, I was.
We don't want to do the math, though, do we?
No, we don't. Just figuring I just turned 51. I mean, about 7 days ago. So, I mean, that's about 30 years ago.
Carlos Pena. Well, I'm sure Braves fans watching around the Southeast, what are you doing these days? What keeps you busy?
For the most part, speaking. And also I work with a high school baseball team during the summer, and then I'll do an elite high school baseball team showcase tournaments during the fall. And, you know, in the fall as well, I mean, I'll get out into the hunting woods, and I enjoy my hunting. But speaking keeps up a lot of time, trying to be a better dad and a better husband. Keeps me going, and you know, just working with my son. I mean, he's down here. We're having a great weekend together, and you know, it's just been a blessing to have all that.
Well, before we let you go and join your teammates and all the other alumni, All of us with the Braves suffered a very sad loss last night. Ernie Johnson, the patriarch as far as the broadcasting wing of Braves baseball is concerned, passed away after a lengthy illness last night. Your thoughts on what you remember about Ernie Johnson?
Ernie was always a special man. I mean, I can remember always coming into the clubhouses and you know, he would sit there with such a humble look on his face continually. But, I mean, he always had kind words for everybody. The way that he went about his broadcasting was unlike any other, and he was a special, special man. And the baseball community, along with Atlanta, is going to miss him very, very much.
Well, those kind words, I'm sure, are appreciated by Ernie Jr., the rest of the Johnson family, and I think those are words we could apply to you, Sid Bream. One of the classiest people we ever had the good fortune of watching put on a Braves uniform.
Well, I mean, I've been surrounded by a lot of great people, and when you're around a lot of great people, they make the person inside shine a little bit too. So I appreciate you guys, and it's always a delight to be able to see you. And I wish you guys the very best with your families and everything else. And God bless you all, bud.
Sid, you too.
Sid.
Great to see you, man. Don't be a stranger.
All right.
Sid Bream at the ballpark tonight as we celebrate the 1991 and 92 Braves ball clubs and 20 remarkable years of baseball here in the Southeast. First and second, one out for Carlos Pena. Derek Lowe's had a couple more base runners in this inning, but has kept the lead for Chicago at 1 run.
You look at the first 2 batters for the Cubs. That's 4 hits already. Couple hit and runs. 2 good prospects for the Cubs. Getting it done off a low.
It's yanked foul by Pena. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Carlos Pena a couple years ago might have been the best player in the American League, and I know that's saying a lot. But in 2007 with Tampa Bay, a .282 average, 46 home runs, 121 RBIs, and 103 walks.
Unbelievable season for him, and he was really one of those leaders for Tampa.
But this year, in a Cubs uniform, it's been more of the same for last season. He has not been able to get that batting average much above .220 for this season. And a big second out for Lowe.
He's a feast of famine guy. He's one of those guys, I'm going to swing hard if I hit it. I'm going to drive in some runs, hit some home runs. He's not afraid to strike out. And, you know, you look at his strikeout numbers over the past couple of years, they're way up. But you'll take that if he's going to drive in 100 and hit 40, 50 home runs.
Here's Marlon Byrd out of Sprayberry High School. Chipper took away a hit from him. That ended the Chicago first. Mentioned it last night. You see the protective flap on the helmet of Marlon Byrd. May 21st, hit in the face by a pitched ball at Fenway Park. And he missed a lot of time with facial fractures. But when in the lineup, Brian has been one of their most consistent hitters this year.
Well, he's been a tremendous player the last 3-4 years. Started out in Texas and came over to the Cubs. And he's a consistent player. He's durable and puts up some good numbers, power numbers. He's a gap-to-gap hitter. He has pretty good speed. That's all you can ask for if you're Mike Quad. He goes out every day. He leads by example. He plays the game the way it's supposed to be played, despite the struggles of the Chicago Cubs all year.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
One thing that Marlon Byrd is struggling to hit is that slider away. Derek Lowe is giving him a steady diet of it right now.
That one ricochets off David Ross, and Marlon Byrd has new life. A sacrifice fly by Aramis Ramirez brought home Starlin Castro in the first. That's the only run in the game to this point.
If you're Derek Lowe, you don't want to take any chances in on Marlon Byrd because his power is in.
Paints the corner. Derek got on top of that pitch, didn't he?
He sure did.
Third strikeout. Cubs fail to score in the third. That 1991 worst to first club for the Atlanta Braves, and you'll see shortly the smiling face of Steve Avery. And you'll see him right now joining us in the broadcast booth as the Braves come up for the third inning. Abe's good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys, too. Glad I could make it down.
Same question to you that I've asked everybody. Does it seem possible it was 20 years ago?
Not at all. I got a little more gray hair, but it doesn't feel any different.
Derek Lowe leads things off. Your memories of 91?
Just how exciting everything was. I think, the fans going crazy about the chop. I think that was really the one thing that stands out in my memory, to be honest with you. I mean, we used to come out to the field like a half hour early. I mean, you never see guys in the dugout like real early, but half hour, 45 minutes early, we would watch the fans, and it was kind of an exciting time for everyone.
I know I was talking to Dave Justice about the personalities of your teammates and how much fun you guys had in 91. And your name came up as one of the top kind of jokesters and guys that love to have fun.
Yeah, we right from spring training, it was it was great. We would like Dion and Otis and myself and Merker and all those guys. We'd go fishing, and we just did stuff all the time off the field as well as on, and it really built a good team chemistry. And then I actually saw my wife put a video on online about where I was on Dion's back when we won one of the games, and it was just funny. I forgot we did that, but I used to be running on the field, and all of a sudden I'd have Dion riding on my back out onto the field, and we just take turns kind of catching each other that way, I guess.
91 personally had to be a lot more fun than 1990 was for you as far as the wins and losses were concerned. But how important was 1990 for Steve Avery to win 18 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think, everyone kind of goes through it at some time. Mine happened to be my first year, which is pretty normal. But, I didn't know what to expect. And any rookie that comes up really just doesn't quite understand what they need to do to be successful for a full season, and when they do, I mean, it's something special. So I thought I learned a lot my first year, and then obviously the guys we brought in were a lot better defensively, so they probably covered up a lot more of my mistakes in the second year.
Broken bat. Castro charges, can't make the play. Bourne's going to reach, and he represents the tying run. Speaking of special, you'd never pitched in the playoffs before, but things turned out pretty well, didn't they, for you?
Yeah, that was a fun postseason there. I never threw the ball better. I mean, it was good timing to probably feel as good as I've ever felt, and to be able to do it in that kind of situation was pretty fun.
What do your teenage kids say about the mullet these days?
It's surprising how much they bring that up. Actually, now I get the skunk look on top, but. The mullet wasn't much better.
How much fun was it seeing your former teammates. I know last year we missed you. Everybody was asking, where's Avery? Where's Avery? How much fun was it to come back and enjoy Bobby Cox moments and see your 91 team again?
It was great. I mean, like I said, at time, we don't talk much. I mean, you get busy with other things, but when you see everybody, I mean, it's like you never left them. And, Greg McMichael's doing a great job with the alumni, trying to get a little bit more going with them. And we did the fantasy camp this year, which was a lot of fun for us. And, things like this, it really, I think it's good for all of us. And keeping the tradition alive is always good.
It's always amazing to me, someone who never played in the major leagues, but watching guys in their early 20s now enter their late 40s, sometimes early 50s, get you guys together. It's like you guys are 22 again. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it really doesn't change. I mean, we still, pull the same stupid pranks and joke around the same way, and that's what I mean about not really missing a beat. I mean, it feels like we were just in the clubhouse and having a good time winning the World Series or winning the pennant. And the Braves have done a great job, like I said, the last couple of years of doing that. And, I mean, you look at all those pennants up there. I mean, there's some pretty great players that have come through here and great teams. So, the Braves have a lot to be proud of, and hopefully, we can continue to do this kind of stuff.
I got to ask you a question. In 1991, you guys had a great pitching staff. Who was the true leading pitcher as far as in the clubhouse? Who was the go-to guy or grabbed you by the shirt and said, hey, come on, you got to do this, do that better?
Yeah, I think Leo was that for us because we were so young. We kind of looked to him to kind of do that part of it. But Glav really came into his own that year. He had been up a couple years before us, and he kind of put it all together that year. And just watching him go out and the way he worked the hitters was good for me, being left-handed. And our stuff wasn't all that similar, but I watched him quite a bit and learned an awful lot.
And you had Charlie Lieberant too.
Yeah, Charlie too. I didn't mean to leave him out, but he was the same way. He was a calming influence. He always worked hard. I mean, you see him and he's still in playing shape. So watching the way he went around about his business, and there's not much you'd be pretty bad if you can't learn from watching those guys pitch. I mean, you'd have to be not real smart.
Well, what are you up to these days, eh?
I'm a chauffeur up in Michigan. Anyone that's got 3 kids that play like 4 different sports each knows what that's like, I guess. But, yeah, I pretty much spend all my time in the car.
Freddie Freeman bats with a man aboard, 2 outs. I'm sure you keep up with the Braves. You watch them on television whenever you can. How about the rookies the Braves have in Freddie Freeman and Craig Kimbrell coming out of the bullpen this year?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I did get to see them more. They kind of moved to the Peachtree Network, I guess, and, so we don't get that up in Michigan. So I do get to check them out. I check, keep an eye on them, and they're having a great season. They look like they're in line to make the playoffs, and, I'm rooting for them, and hopefully they can, like I said, keep the tradition alive of a lot of success here.
We're going to see the Tigers out of the American League Central. They got a 3-game lead, Steve.
I think so. I think the Tigers and Braves in the World Series this year would be pretty sweet for me.
Wow.
No balls and a strike to Freeman. And high and tight to even the count.
I know my kids would like that to, have a line on tickets, I guess, for a World Series. It would be pretty fun for
Do the
them.
kids get what you did when you were 20, 21 years old? Do they have an understanding of that now?
I wish they did a little bit more. I think, I was never a really big saver, and I wish I would. I was telling the guys that. I wish I would have kept more memorabilia and tapes and all that stuff, but I wasn't a big hoarder, I guess. So, unfortunately, they probably haven't seen me play as much as I would like, and when they did see me play, I wasn't real good. So.
Well, it looks like you keep yourself in good shape. What have you been doing?
I try to. I mean, I coach a lot, and try and at least work out a couple times a week. But it's hard, like I said, when start getting a little older, you just don't quite feel like doing it as much. So.
Is your 17-year-old son challenging you every day, trying to wrestle you and think he's stronger than you, like my son?
Yeah, he knows better than that.
Oh, here we go. Swing and miss, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Aves, it's great to see you, man. I know everybody in Braves country is so thrilled to see you guys coming back. And hopefully we can do this again year after year. It's always wonderful to have you back.
That'd be great. I appreciate coming down and everything you guys do.
The great Steve Avery, our guest here at the ballpark.
Take care, buddy.
All right.
The Braves batting here in the home half of the third inning. A 2-2 count to Freddie Freeman. Michael Bourne just stole second after an infield hit. And now Freddie will try to chase him home. And that's yanked into the Braves dugout.
Freddie does a great job getting his hands in on those tough pitches in. He's always looking a way to drive the ball to left field, but if you try to sneak one by him, he's able to get those hands in, and that's why he's performing so well. He's so relaxed now at the plate. It used to be a problem spot early in the season. That inside pitch really tied him up, but now he's getting those hands free and turning on the ball.
It's almost like he's now a first-year player, not a rookie anymore.
You're right. After that All-Star break, I always say you're never a rookie. And I'm getting that from Ozzie Smith, one of the great shortstops of all time. He was sort of my mentor, and he used to tell me, hey, you're not a rookie anymore. You got through the first part of the season. Now this is the grind. Freddie is really stepping up to the plate in the second half.
He'd love to bring Dan Uggla to the plate. Dan's waiting next. Ground ball up the middle. Barney to his right and gets his man to retire the side. Bourne gets an infield hit, and that is all for Atlanta. Game remains in the Cubs' favor. It's a 1-0 score. I know Brian put on his thinking cap early this morning to get ready for our always challenging AT&T Uverse trivia question. Derek Lowe's one of 3 in baseball history with a 20-win season and a 40-save season. Can you name the other 2?
Well, John Smoltz.
You have to get John Smoltz.
Yeah, that was Dennis Eckersley.
Might be a very good answer.
That's.
You didn't say that with quite as much
conviction.
I know.
I was a little
John
nervous
Smoltz.
about that one.
Hedging on Eckersley, huh?
But I knew he was a starter when he came in and ended up closing games.
Soriano with a big swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Derek Lowe's had base runners in every inning. Cubs have left 4 men on base. They are 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position so far. And that's why it's still a 1-0 game.
How about Alfonso Soriano, one of 3 players to have 10 consecutive seasons with 20 home runs or more? Can you think of the other 2?
Oh, that was our trivia question last night.
Oh, wow.
Joe and I nailed it. I mean,
David Ortiz?
Really, Joe nailed it. I just sort of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, followed on the coattails like always.
But that's amazing. I'm surprised that it's just 3 players to ever do that.
Yeah, David Ortiz and Albert Pujols were the other 2. You know, injury plays a part in that.
Right.
Can have a bad year.
And I know Alfonso coming over to Chicago, he struggled a little bit. He still managed to do it.
He's caught looking. First out for Derek Lowe. He struck out 4 and 3 in a row. It'll be very interesting for me, Brian, to see how the Cubs play here over the next couple of weeks. Again, we mentioned the Carlos Zambrano story. After giving up 5 home runs last night and trying to hit Chipper Jones with 2 pitches, was ejected, left the game, announced he was retiring. The Cubs then placed him on the 30-day disqualified list.
Right. Had a chance to talk to pitching coach Mark Riggins. Mark Riggins coached me when I was a rookie back in Canada. But just to talk to him about it, you know, it was disappointing because Zambrano, who was really throwing pretty good up to this last night. And you see that first pitch in on Chipper, and then he tries to come in further. And Tim Timmons did a great job of just no warning, throwing him out of the ball game.
Yeah,
we all know his past history.
Sure. Ground ball to first off the bat of Tyler Colvin. And what the disqualified list means is for 30 days, Zambrano can take part in no team activities and will not get paid. Now, the story advanced today. Carlos Zambrano apparently has told the Cubs that he's not going to retire, and that on Monday the Players Association is going to file an appeal or a grievance to that decision by the Cubs. The bigger question is, has Carlos Zambrano thrown his last pitch for the Chicago Cubs?
I really think so. You burn a certain amount of bridges. You continue to get opportunities. At some point, they're not going to be there. And if you're the general manager, the organization, it's a no tolerance rule. You gave this young man so many opportunities, and he's really made your organization look bad. And last night, you just don't do that. It's so selfish from a player standpoint.
That's what Mike Quaddy
Giving
said.
up on your teammates like that.
That's what Mike Quaddy said. Forget quitting on me, he said, but he quit on the other 24 guys. And the Cubs were indeed embarrassed. Jim Hendry, their general manager, called Frank Wren before tonight's ball game and apologized on behalf of the Cubs organization for Zambrano's actions. He felt that Carlos Zambrano tarnished what was a very special night honoring Bobby Cox, which I thought was very classy. And
exactly. Well, that was classy.
Nice gesture.
That was a nice gesture.
And Giovanni Soto carved up by Derek Lowe, who has struck out 5 men in the game. Derek Lowe pitching a good ball game. Let's see if the heart of the Braves order can get him even or ahead. by Ford, by Checkers, by Academy Sports and Outdoors, and by Georgia Power. With Brian Jordan, we indeed welcome back the alumni. Brian's one of them. You saw that very soft line drive that Brian hit in the Old Timers game.
That was a hot shot, Chip. Terry Pendleton was scared over there at third base.
I expected a little more out of you, son.
Well, you know what?
Soft tossing Tom Glavine, a single. Come on.
That is exactly right. Tom Glavine was on the mound. You're so used to him pitching you away. You try to pull that away pitch, and that's what happens. You can't hit it hard. That's the typical Tom Glavine.
But you're batting 1,000 in Old Timers.
That's
game.
right.
That's all that matters. So's Dan Uggla in this game. He singled in the first. Braves have 3 base hits in the game, but trail by an early run. Atlanta hoping to get more good news out of Brian McCann. Remember, he was on a rehab stint last night. He was the designated hitter for Gwinnett, and Brian's playing behind the plate tonight. We understand he homered in his second at bat. And if all goes well tonight, there's a very good chance Brian could be activated in time for the final game of the series here tomorrow afternoon.
And Brian is anxious to get back.
Dan Uggla 4 now behind Tommy Holmes for the all-time Braves hitting streak.
How about Tommy Holmes? 434 during that 37-game streak.
Fly ball center. Bird back. Track. Wall. Game tie. Joe Simpson, this one's for you. He's hotter than a dancing bobcat.
Keep it going, Dan Uggla. Showing his power straightaway center field. We talked about Wells getting the ball up in the zone. 14 starts this year, 15 home runs. Well, make it 16. Straightaway center field, Dan Uggla.
Wow. Braves are on the board with a leadoff homer for Dan Uggla. Now Chipper Jones, and the Chop House is chanting.
You can just see the new energy of this Braves ball club. Offensively, they just look confident. Every guy that goes to the plate feels like he's going to get a hit. You just see a different attitude.
Now Chipper strokes one left center field. Bird going back. Warning track. High off the wall. Chipper on his way to second. He doubles with nobody out.
Just continue to feed off the energy. Another ball up in the zone. And Chipper does a great job keeping that front side closed and just missing back-to-back home runs.
You saw that first shot of Chipper at second. Great work by our camera crew, and that little wry twist and tilt to the head, as if to say, missed a home run by that much. An extra base hit number 1001 represents the go-ahead run here in the Braves' fourth.
Alex Gonzalez hit the ball hard his first time up straightaway center field.
Ground ball to short. Castro's going to go to third, and the Chipper's going to be out.
If Chipper had this over again, he would have stayed at second base. A ball hit directly at you. And that's one of those tough balls, Chip. I mean, it's directly at you. You feel like you're fast enough to get there, but that young man, Starlin Castro, makes a good decision.
You're right. Chipper wishes he had that to do again. So he's the first out. Gonzalez at first. David Ross, the catcher, was called out on strikes his first time up.
You got to be happy with the job David Ross has done in the absence of Brian McCann. And then catching just about every game, throwing runners out, and really calling good games behind the plate.
Well, I think that's the one big advantage the Braves have had over just about everybody else in the National League this year is their overall depth. Remember, this is a club that's lost virtually every position player to an injury of some sort or another. Ugla and Gonzalez, the notable exceptions. As Ross dumps one into shallow right, that'll drop in front of Colvin. And on an 0-2 pitch, David Ross protects the plate and picks up a soft single. 2 on, 1 out.
It's really a good pitch by Wells, breaking down. And David Ross just slaps this ball in left field.
But think about it. The Braves at one point lost their entire starting outfield. They've overcome that. They've had Chipper Jones in and out of the lineup. They've been without Brian McCann for a couple of weeks. They've had Jurgens on the DL. They've had Hansen on the DL. They've had key guys out of their bullpen. And Peter Moylan, Scott Linebrink, Chris Medlin's missed the whole year. Yet here they are, second best record in the league. 6 up in the wild card and still within a week's worth of good play of the Phillies.
Give a lot of credit to Frank Wren. I mean, he's been working hard this season, you know, replacing guys, bringing up guys like Costanza. Surprise, surprise, surprise. A player that no one expected would come up and do as well as he's done. Go out and get Michael Bourne. To me, one of the best leadoff hitters and center fielders in the game. I mean, he's really put the Braves in a great position to be very successful this season.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Jose will disagree with that. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A late breaking slider down in the zone.
Well, this is the time of year where you send your 8 hottest guys out there. And Jose Costanza has done that.
You got to ride him. You got to ride him.
Yep.
You can't afford to lose that momentum.
Bouncing ball to the mound. Wells has to hurry and hits his man by a step. And runners are at second and third now with 2 outs. That ball had been hit in the air another foot. He might have beaten that play out.
And that's the type of player he is. He's not going to strike out. He's going to put every ball in play. And if he can bounce that ball high enough, he'll take that every at bat. But Randy Wells did a great job getting off the mound, knowing the speed of Costanza, and throwing a bullet over to first base.
Derek Lowe hit the ball hard up the middle. He was robbed by Darwin Barney at second. And now he's got a chance to really help himself.
Derek Lowe's been swinging the bat pretty good this season, really helping his cause out a lot. And this would be a great position here to find a hole somewhere and score 2 runs.
One ball, no strikes. That was was the pitch that struck out David Ross, you might recall. And Wells dropped that one in to even the count.
Jeff Kellogg being very consistent.
Deep short. Castro surrounds and throws across in time. And that'll retire the side. Dan Uggla is roasting hot. He's hit his 3rd homer of the series. This one to straightaway center. And it ties the game after 4. Park for you, 5th inning now as we enjoy our Academy Sports and Outdoors game summary.
Dan Uggla, 33-game hit streak, got it out of the way, first at bat once again tonight. Dan Uggla going deep, straight away center field, 412 feet was the distance.
And how about Derek Lowe?
Derek Lowe, after giving up 1 in the 1st inning, really settling in and getting that sinker down and slider away, and he's looked really good, Chip.
Lowe has struck out 5 men. Derek has retired the last 6 he has faced. I mentioned the 5 hits for Chicago. 4 of those 5 are from their 1 and 2 hitters, Castro and Barney, and they are scheduled after the pitcher hits in the top of this Chicago half inning.
Look at Starlin Castro and Barney. Those are 2 guys that you want to build your team around. They look like they're going to be around for a long time.
Lowe versus Wells. 2 pitchers with very similar styles, as even as you can get. 1-1 game after 4.
Look at every starter in this rotation for the Braves. It seems the first 2 innings they have their troubles and they settle down and do a great job the rest of the way. But it's those first 2 innings that's been a nemesis all year long.
Lowe gave up a 1st inning run tonight. Bouncing ball up the middle. Alex, what a play. Scoop it first. 1 out.
Wow, we just see it all so often from Alex Gonzalez.
That's our Zaxby's indescribably good play. Top that, Starlin Castro.
Freddie Freeman digging it out. Wow, what a play. He is so smooth.
You heard Sid Bream use the term Pac-Man with regards to Rafael Belliard on that 91 Braves ball club.
I don't know what it's going to take to give him that gold glove, but so far this season, he deserves it.
Pop foul by Castro, who's 2 for 2 tonight. In fact, Castro, not surprising, he's doing this. 155 hits. That's more than anybody else in the National League. And he's had 19 games this year, Brian, with 3 or more hits.
Which leads the National League.
But his perfect night will come to a close on a fly ball to right. And 2 out. Back to the AT&T U-verse trivia question. Derek Lowe, 1 of 3 in baseball history with a 20-win and 40-save season. Are you going to stick with your answer?
That's Smokes Eckersley. And my third guy is a toughie.
Well, I wouldn't change a thing.
Oh, man. There we go.
Eckersley in the Hall of Fame. John Smoltz
will be in the Hall of Fame.
A great shot, too. Here's Barney.
There's that slider by Derek Lowe. Talk about making adjustments last year. That was the pitch. Really got him going at the end of the season.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Third, and Barney's still alive, and David Ross out to talk things over. Barney played on a College World Series winning team with Oregon State. That was back in 2007. Born in Portland, lives in Beaverton, Oregon in the offseason. 4th round pick by the Cubs in 2007.
Derek Lowe has given this young man a lot of respect. That is why.
That was just out of reach of the glove. Momentary bobble, but no damage done, and Barney is a perfect 3 for 3.
Just over, out of the reach of Derek Lowe. And that's a bullet.
Barney's 8th 3-hit game of the year. Remember, this is a man that was 2 for 20 coming into play tonight. And now the Braves have to face Aramis Ramirez, who loves the first pitch. Keep an eye on that. 1 ball, no strikes.
Talking to Barney before the game, I mean, he had such a positive attitude. Although he was struggling coming in to the game, he was on his way to work out, get ready, and you almost sensed that he was going to break out today. A lot of guys would have had, especially rookies, would have had their head down, not wanting to talk to anybody, but full of energy. And that's what you like to see out of young players.
Deep short. Alex can't get that one. And Aramis Ramirez aboard. Back-to-back 2-out hits for Chicago brings up Carlos Pena. Pena's popped out and has struck out.
After getting 2 quick outs, Derek Lowe. I mean, he pitched well. That was a good piece of hitting by Aramis. That ball was down in the zone. Just happened to find a hole in between third and short. See if Derek Lowe can pitch his way out of this against Carlos Pena.
1 ball, no strikes. Left center field, and that's big trouble. Barney's going to score. Ramirez is going to get green lighted. And Chicago takes a 3-1 lead on 3 straight 2-out hits.
Carlos Pena is doing a great job here. Carlos normally a pull hitter. Kept the head down, a sinker breaking away from him. And he just drives this ball in the gap. Good piece of hitting by Carlos Pena. 2-run double.
His 16th double of the year. And Cubs fans at Turner Field rejoice with a 3-1 advantage.
Marlon Byrd's swing just looks awful against the slider. He's not seeing it out of Derek Lowe's hand. Got to stay with that pitch.
Time called. Bird will try to protect 0-2. Three straight breaking balls takes care of Marlon Byrd, but 3 straight hits by the Cubs with 2 outs gives them a 3-1 lead. Braves will send the top of their order up against Randy Wells, Bourne, Prado, and Freddie Freeman as they try to get things equal. Brian, time for our Home Depot know-how question of the game. It comes from Edward in Gainesville, Georgia. How much of a difference is it to have speed at the top of the lineup?
Wow, it just makes the middle of your lineup much better, especially a guy like Martin Prado hitting behind a guy like Michael Bourne. puts a lot of pressure on the starting pitchers, or all pitchers for that matter. Now he's more worried about Michael Bourne, and he's throwing a lot of fastballs up there for Prado and Chipper Jones and Dan Ugler and Freeman. So definitely makes a difference. And that's the way the game was played back in the day with the Ricky Hendersons, Lou Brock, speed at the top of the lineup. You win ball games. And that's why he's a huge addition along with Costanza.
The old saying, it never slumps. Speaking of speed.
That's right.
And you're right. The Braves kind of have an American League style lineup with speed at the top and the bottom. Of course, you have the pitcher in our league, not over in the AL where the DH is employed. But the speed has certainly paid dividends for the Atlanta offense. Coming into tonight's game, Michael Bourne has scored 7 runs in 10 games. And Jose Costanza had scored 11 runs in 13 games.
And it really changes the energy of your ball club.
That short hopped at second. And Michael Bourne is the first out. 1 up, 1 down as we look at tonight's Jamison in upcoming schedule. One more with the Cubs. Brandon Beachy against Matt Garza. Despite a losing record, Brian might be the Cubs' best pitcher.
Well, a huge pickup for the Cubs this offseason in Matt Garza. Disappointing season for the Cubs, but you talk about coming into the season when they added Matt Garza, I said the Cubs, watch out. I figured they would be in the Central Division race, but unfortunately a lot of bad things have gone wrong for the Cubs.
Yeah, injuries really crippled them in the early weeks of the season. 2 of their starters went down with injury. One of them was Randy Wells. He's pitching tonight and pitching a good game. He's scattered 6 hits. He's given up only 1 run and now leads by a 3-1 score.
He's done a great job keeping the ball down in the zone. Jeff Kellogg is giving him that inside low pitch, and he's staying right there.
Well, we mentioned earlier, you could really contrast or compare Wells and Derek Lowe. Very similar styles.
Good downward break on that sinker. It's really the reason for their success. But when both guys get that ball up in the zone, things are a little different for him.
Broken bat. Castro at short. And 2 outs. Martino for 7 in the series.
That man Starlin looks so smooth. He gets that glove out in front and makes that play look so easy.
Well, that's an area where they are hoping that maturity will help him improve. He has made 19 errors. As Joe mentioned last night, many of those have come with careless throws.
He has tremendous range too, so he gets to a lot of balls that some shortstops can't get to. And that's probably the cause of those throwing errors, trying to get rid of it and make the great play.
Freddie Freeman's 1 for 2 tonight. Dan Uglo waiting on deck. He's our Delta Airlines on deck batter. Represents the tying run.
Good slider by Wells, tying up Freddie Freeman on that swing.
Fly ball toward right, and Tyler Colvin is there. Wells has another 1-2-3 inning, his second of the night, and the Cubs maintain a 3-1 lead. Ball on Peachtree TV and Fox Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price. Best pinch hitter in broadcasting history, Brian Jordan, alongside tonight. Filling in for Joe Simpson. Joe will be back tomorrow with Tommy Glavine. Here's truly Chip Carey. A ground ball to Chipper Jones. And one pitch retires Alfonso Soriano.
First pitch sinker to Alfonso. Easy ground ball for Chipper Jones. Makes the play.
Tyler Colvin has a double and a ground out tonight. Cubs have been waiting for this kid to break out. Problem is for Colvin, he didn't have a place to play. They had Kosuke Fukudome, you might recall, just traded him to Cleveland before the deadline. And then last night, they played veteran Reed Johnson in the outfield. And tonight with Derek Lowe, Colvin gets a turn to hit, and he's picked up a two-bagger.
He's one of those prospects that they want to see break through, and he's going to get his opportunity to do so.
Driven to center. Bourne going back, leaping at the wall, lost it. And Colvin never stopped running. He'll make his way to third with one out. Let's see if Michael's all right. Remember, only his second home game as a Brave. He's played here before with Houston, but a couple of interesting routes.
Well, he's trying to get used to that outfield, and he made an outstanding effort here. He had the ball in his glove, but once he hit that wall, just that jolt just knocked the ball out of his glove. I mean, he had it, the ice cream cone. Great effort.
Now the infield comes in with Soto up. Runner at third, one out. And a dribbler toward Chipper. Bare hand. Wild throw. It's the only chance he had. So an infield hit for Soto, we presume. And Chicago extends the lead to 4-1.
It's a great effort by Chipper with the bare hand. That's his only play. Try to go home here. Just off the mark.
Wow, fielder's choice, and that's ruled an E5.
Well, you almost have to, I think, rule it that way, because if Chipper throws it to first, it's an easy out. Giovanni running the bases.
Wells lays down the bunt. And Soto to second now with two outs. Support the Braves here at Turner Field. Get your seats now for the August 19th, 20th, and 21st. The Arizona Diamondbacks are coming to town. For tickets, visit Braves.com or call 800-745-3000. Soto at second, Starlin Castro the hitter. Castro's 2 for 3. Cubs 4, Braves 1.
Castro taking his time to get to the plate, allowing Randy Wells.
And now a looping line drive over short. And Soto will come home to score.
I can't even finish my comment before he's swinging at that first pitch, driving in a run.
His 20th three-hit game.
That's 6 hits between Castro and Barney. 1-2 in the lineup.
Barney's 3 for 3. Braves bullpen will start to work. 5 runs on 10 hits for Chicago. Driven to center. Michael is there. He's got this one. Inning might have changed dramatically had Bourne been able to hang on as he slammed into the fence. Instead, the Cubs get 2 more in the 6th.
Sixth inning. Now it's time for your Coors Light freeze cam. Gonzalez with a backhand play. You see what Castro is at third base. Should I stay or should I go? Well, probably should have stayed. Great decision by Gonzalez. Even better play by David Ross at home plate.
That saved 1 run, but the Cubs have scored 5 already in this game and lead in the middle of the 6th inning with Ugla, Chipper, and Alex coming up.
Dan Ugla, another so far perfect night, 2 for 2, solo home run. Getting the Braves on the scoreboard.
Dan's 5 for 5 in the series with 3 homers. And now Wells with a big lead of 4 runs can really start to attack the Braves offense.
Well, I said coming in, Wells is either really good or really bad, and tonight he's keeping that ball down in the zone. Just as you saw there, another fastball down. He's been very successful so far doing that.
It sounds like such an elementary question, but I know Joe and I have talked about. Braves hitters have to make him get the ball up. How do you do that as a hitter?
Well, you be patient. And, you know, a lot of those borderline pitches.
Ugla got hit.
Well, you do that. Get a sinker in. It's not throwing hard enough to hurt you, so take the easy base here. Right off the 5. You look at Dan Ugla's legs, that's not going to hurt.
Braves will take base runners any way they can get them. Here's Chipper. He doubled off the left center field fence. That was in the 4th inning. Chipper now a 6-game hitting streak. And he singles through the hole on the right side.
Chip, I was just about to say how more relaxed Chipper Jones looks at the plate. You know, the pressure's off of Chipper now. This team is going to be successful. He seems like he's having fun now. He's relaxed. And he's just playing some really good baseball.
And as much as everybody hated to see Chipper have that knee problem and then the thigh problem, this time of year it's tough for a veteran player, isn't it?
It's tough, and it was even tougher to sit there and watch and be on the DL with Chipper Jones, but it gave him a chance to realize that this team is pretty good despite me being in this lineup. So when I come back, I'm going to relax and just have fun, and that's been the difference for Chipper Jones. He's playing great defense. Freddie Gonzalez has given him days off to relax that knee, and stay energized, and it's really paying off.
Mark Riggins out to allow the Cubs bullpen some tosses. James Russell's the lefty. Former Notre Dame football star Jeff Samardzija the righty. Alex Gonzalez had his 11-game hit streak interrupted last night. He's hit safely though in 11 of 12. And a chance to prolong this inning. 2 on, nobody out for Atlanta.
Hopefully he can get back on that hot streak. We talked about him being a streaky hitter. When it's going good for Alex, it's going good. But when it goes bad, he could be in it for a long time.
Patience, 1 ball, no strikes. Ground ball. Barney can't get that one. Ugla around third. He's going to score. It's a 5-2 game. Single RBI for Gonzalez. Chipper stops at second.
This ball is down in the zone once again, but Alex Gonzalez was able to hit this ball hard enough up the middle. Good effort by Darwin Barney, but couldn't come up with the ball. And a good job by Snicker sending Ugla.
And that'll be the last batter that Randy Wells faces in this game. And Ugla hit by a pitch. He bites back with the second Braves run. Tying run comes to the plate with nobody out in the Atlanta 6th. Had a 5-1 lead. Atlanta has tacked one on here in the 6th and continue to threaten in support of Derek Lowe.
Carlos Pena got the big hit for the Cubs, 2-run double. If you look at Chipper Jones, 2 hits tonight. Dan Ugla on base all 3 times. Scored 2 runs. And the Braves fighting their way back into this ball game.
And they will face Brian Jordan's favorite Cub, Jeff Samardzija. You know why?
Gotta love those football players.
That's right. Terrific star at Notre Dame. 27 touchdowns as a receiver. And first team All-American in the 2006 college football season. Cubs signed him to a 5-year major league deal. Selected in the 5th round of the 06 draft. He's shuttled up and down between the big leagues and their Iowa farm club. They really haven't figured out until this year what his role is going to be. They've started him. He's pitched exclusively out of the pen in the big leagues, at least this season.
34 innings pitched. He has 30 strikeouts, so he's a guy that's going to attack you. It's good, great velocity on that fastball. And he's learning the pitch. And this is a time where the Cubs can take some time and watch him at the big league level, because they're not going to be in a race. So a lot of these young players get a chance, get a great opportunity.
He's a big man, 6'5", 225 pounds. Jeffrey Allen Samardzija. Popped up. Infield fly, retires David Ross. Always important to get that first batter. Samardzija does that. And David Ross 1 for 3. Here's Constanza.
Chip, that's a pretty good size for a wide receiver. He could have had a bright future in the NFL.
Growing big on the farm, Brian. And we will have a spelling test for the last name by the time the inning is over, so get ready. Samardzija.
A lot of letters on that jersey.
I'd love to see my grandfather pronounce that one backwards.
He may have tried.
He would have had trouble forwards. Ball 2. Brooks Conrad's grabbed the bat. He's in the on deck circle. He'd bat for low if Braves can stay out of a double play here.
It's like Samardzija is trying to overthrow that fastball, so Costanza has to be patient here. Make him throw a strike. Wow, I thought that was up in the zone.
Jose might have as well.
Well, that's close. That's borderline.
Changes the at bat, though, doesn't it? Instead of 3-1, it's now 2-2. Back to the mound. Samardzija will get one at second. No chance at first. Chipper to third. Alex forced out. 1-6. And now Brooks Conrad will indeed bat for Derek Lowe.
And that's what Costanza does so well. Not going to strike out. He puts the ball in play, and he's probably the hardest guy in the league right now to double up. I mean, that wasn't even close.
And that may not look like much in the box score, but it does bring Brooks Conrad up. And hey, a 2-out hit here would be nice. Chip away, peck away at this 5-2 Cub lead.
A 3-run bomb would be even better.
We know Brooks can hit anybody's fastball.
First slot I see Samardzija.
Good pitch, paints the corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good patient at bat by Brooks Conrad. Ball was just off the plate.
Those are your choices for the top of the 7th. Let's see what Brooks does with a 2-1 pitch. Popped him up. Colvin in shallow right. He's got it, and that'll retire the side. Dan Uggla was hit by a pitch to start the 6th. He comes across to score the 2nd Braves run. In a 5-2 lead. Big crowd here tonight for our celebration of the 91 Braves Club. And our McDonald's fans of the game are certainly enjoying the festivities at Turner Field tonight.
Dancing up a storm.
And now it's time for the AT&T call to the bullpen. Christian Martinez is in for Derek Lowe. Derek Lowe gave up 5 runs in his 6 innings, 10 hits. And the real heartbreaking inning was the 6th. He allowed 2 runs to score in a span of 8 pitches total that inning. And it truly is a game of inches, Brian. That triple that danced out of the glove of Michael Bourne on the collision in the outfield led to that 2-run inning.
And it was a great effort by Michael Bourne, leaping into the air and kind of snow coning that ball. But once he jolted into that wall, knocked the ball out, and turned into a pretty big inning for the Cubs.
So now Christian will try to take care of Ramirez, Pena, and Bird. Can't give him any more. Cubs lead by 3.
But you said it, Chip. It's only Michael Bourne's 2nd game home, and once he learns the outfield, he'll make that catch easy next time. He'll get back to the wall. He's kind of timing that ball there because he wasn't sure about the warning track.
Ramirez down on strikes. I bet you Michael would tell you, heck, any center field is easier than the one he played in Houston with the flagpole, the hill, and the crazy angles out there.
No question about it. But for an outfielder, you got to know the angles of the outfield. You got to know where how many steps you have on that warning track before you get to the wall. And the quicker you're comfortable, the easier it is to play the outfield.
Carlos Pena. Big 2-run double in the 5th. Derek Lowe got the first 2 outs in that inning, and 3 straight Cub hits. In fact, Chicago scored the game's first run in the 1st. Braves tied it on a Dan Uggla 4th inning home run. And 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th for Chicago. Braves in the 6th inning came back with a single tally as well.
Carlos Pena did a great job his last at bat, staying on a sinker, running away from him. Kept his head in there and drove it right in the gap where you're supposed to. He's a guy that a lot of time gets pull happy. And you throw him outside and he'll just roll over trying to pull the ball over the right field wall.
That's why the Braves have a shift on in the infield. 3 defenders on the right side. Dan Uggla playing in shallow right. And now a 1-2 count.
Just missing on that pitch. Good sinker running away right on the outside corner. And I still remember, Chip, that 19-inning game when Christian Martinez came in just up from Gwinnett, and he threw 6 innings of shutout ball.
Skied to right. Constanza's underneath it. And there is the second out. Base is clear for Marlon Byrd. Delta Airlines is a proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves. One ball hit by Atlanta flew away tonight. That was Uggla's 27th home run. And you're right about Christian. He can fulfill a variety of roles in your bullpen. He can be a one-hitter specialist. He can pitch innings with guys on, or his primary role, pitch long relief.
I really like what Frank Wren and Freddie Gonzalez did by sending him down to Gwinnett, because if you remember, starting rotation was doing very well at that time, going 6-7 innings, and he just wasn't pitching enough.
Marlon Byrd drives one right at Martin Prado in left, and it's 3 up, 3 down. Time to stretch in Atlanta. Top of the order coming up for the Braves, down 3. Peachtree TV, Fox Sports South, and the Atlanta Braves. Remember, the patriarch of our broadcasting family, Ernie Johnson Sr., passed away last night after a lengthy illness. Back in 1976, Pete Van Wieren and my dad joined Ernie Johnson, and the rest, they say, is television history. Ernie was, of course, inducted into the Braves Hall of Fame. Pitched in Boston, pitched in Milwaukee, came to Atlanta in 1965, began the radio network here, and is a legendary and beloved figure. He's survived by his lovely wife Lois, his 3 children, and there will never ever be a kinder, gentler, more respected human being with the Atlanta Braves organization than Ernie Johnson Sr.
Well, Chip, I grew up in the North, but when I quickly played down in Atlanta, that was the man, the broadcaster that I first recognized and learned so much about, and I know Braves fans will miss him forever.
I spoke with Ernie Johnson Jr. today, and I'm sure Ernie is watching tonight. I hope he will allow me this message to everybody in Braves country. Ernie and the family have all been incredibly touched by the wonderful thoughts, the prayers, the warm memories, the incredible messages of love and support for the family as Uncle Bourne bounce out. It's a heartbreaking time for all of us. And I said yesterday, Brian, none of us would be here were it not for the genius and incredible generosity of Ernie Johnson Sr. The family announced tonight the funeral services for Ernie will be a public visitation here in Atlanta Monday at 3 to 5 p.m. at Roswell Funeral Home. And then the services will be on this coming Tuesday at 11 o'clock at St. Jude's Catholic in Sandy Springs, Georgia. And all who wish to remember and pay their respects to Ernie are heartily welcomed by the Johnson family. Fly ball by Prado. Bird's got it. And 2 are out.
Great jump by Marlon Byrd on that line drive hit by Martin Prado. Right center field gap. He made that look pretty easy.
Here's Freeman. Freddie's 1 for 3 tonight. Well, this man pitching for the Cubs doing a heck of a job. Sean Marshall pitching in his 57th game. And Carlos Pena will throw high to the pitcher, and that's tough to do. Marshall's a big, tall man, and he just flat out dropped it. There's a break.
I mean, this was an easy play for Carlos Pena. A ground ball, and makes the toss. It's a pretty good toss. A ball that Sean Marshall should have came up with.
That's got to be an error on the pitcher. We'll see what official score Jack Wilkinson says, and that is the call. And the beauty of that play is it brings up Dan Hugla, who's roasting hot. Rays are only down 3. It's a 5-2 score.
Usually a bad error like that comes back to haunt a pitcher. Let's see if Dan Hugla can make him pay. Dan Hugla hitting 185 on the season versus left-handers. 3 home runs.
And he's ahead in the count. And already a 2-hit night. High fly to shallow left, but that's going to be playable for Soriano. Marshall escapes 7th inning trouble, and we go to the 8th. Eighth inning. where tonight we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the 1991 worst to first Atlanta Braves, and that is our SunTrust solid performance. And who can debate that magical 91 year?
Put together by John Sherholtz and Bobby Cox. And I just admired those guys that year for those accomplishments.
Remember, finally, that was my first year working Braves games on Sports South with Ernie Sr.
Wow.
When Sports South was in its infancy stages. And standing in the dugout at the old ballpark, it was media day. It was a rainy, drizzly day. And not knowing fully how badly the Braves had fared in the one-loss column previous 8-9 years after the Joe Torre glory years of the 80s, I asked Ernie, what do you think a good year will be? And he said, Chip, if the Braves finish within 3-4 games of 500 either way, it'll be a fantastic year.
Wow.
Little did we know, it would be the year that Tom Glavine won 20 for the first time. Tom Glavine and Alejandro Pena and Mark Wohlers through the first combined no-hitter in National League history. And Soriano belts one down the left field line. Terry Pendleton will be the MVP. And the birth of the tomahawk chop and this incredible bonanza of postseason baseball would start. What a thrill.
A lot of people said Deion Sanders started that tomahawk chop. I don't know the true story behind that, but when he came in, Deion could start a lot now.
Well, Florida State guy, it's quite possible.
That's
in fact,
right.
That was one of my dad's better lines. They had the chop going one night at the old ballpark. The place was roaring. Braves were playing great, and Dad said,
I wonder why Florida State stole our cheer.
Rolled slowly. Chipper will have to pick it up. That's fair ball. An infield hit for Alfonso Soriano. And that's his first base hit of the night.
Wow. That was one of those in-betweeners. You almost want to think about letting it go foul, and it might have went foul. This ball was clearly going toward that line.
So Soriano with an infield hit. He'll be taken down for a pinch runner. Tony Campana is going to loosen up. And as much, Brian, as we've talked rightfully so about Jose Constanza, keep an eye on Campana. This guy has jets. He can really run.
Well, you got David Ross behind the plate. Got his work cut out for him then.
Tyler Colvin has doubled, he's tripled, he's scored. See Bobby Dernier. He's the Cubs first base coach with the stopwatch. Bobby Dernier back in the early 80s. Part of what they call the daily double with the Cubs. Get on base, steal a bag, and great speed.
Cano has a pretty big lead down there at first. A lot of times when you're that fast and you get off too much, you never get a good jump. Look at that percentage, 93%.
Line drive left. Martinez got it and lost it. And Campana's going to head to third. Colvin's going to move to second. Braves have had the dropsies in this series in left and center. Well, and a chance for a big Cub inning in the 8th.
That's what happens when you look up too quick in Martin Prado. He looked up too quick, looking at the runner instead of seeing that ball all the way into the glove. And that's a big time mistake by Prado.
So 2 errors tonight for Atlanta. And now Giovanni Soto bats with the infield in. It's a 5-2 Cubs lead.
That's a shame for Christian Martinez because he's been pitching well. Alfonso Soriano hits a little dinky ground ball. It probably would have went foul. The ball Colvin hit should have been an easy out by Martin Prado in left field.
Blake DeWitt has grabbed a bat. He would hit for Sean Marshall. Kerry Wood was up and throwing for Chicago. And there's a big first out. Soto can't make contact. And runners second and third, one away.
One thing I noticed about Christian Martinez is when he was down in Gwinnett and earlier this year, he was more of a flamethrower. Had good velocity on his fastball. And when they moved him down to Gwinnett and moved him as a starter, he knew he had to be conservative with his pitches. All of a sudden, he wasn't throwing that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He was throwing a 90-91 with really good movement. And you saw there a good sinker struck out Giovanni Soto. He's really learned how to pitch down in Gwinnett in that short time, and it's really paid off for the Atlanta Braves.
So how do you think the Braves will play it here, Brian, with a base open and a guy with more hits than anybody else on deck? Atlanta needs a double play, down 5-2 with Cubs runners at second and third here.
Well, Roger McDowell probably went out and said, don't make a mistake here. I mean, don't throw him anything too close. One of those intentional but unintentional walks.
And after him, though, DeWitt swung and missed. And infield in for Atlanta.
He threw that ball down in the zone. That was clearly a ball. And if DeWitt wants to swing at that, let him get himself out.
He went to the same spot. DeWitt didn't swing.
David Ross does such a good job directing those pitchers. Keep that ball down in the zone.
DeWitt was originally a Dodger. The Cubs got him in the deal that sent Ted Lilly and Ryan Theriot to Los Angeles at the deadline last year. And a cue shot. Martinez spins, fires to the plate, and safe. The throw was high, and Campana got in. Freddie Gonzalez is out to argue.
Well, you said Tony Campana is pretty quick. And he got his foot down before the tag was made. And you saw David Ross moving his foot out of the way as he saw Campana sliding here. Normally, David Ross would probably block the plate. But his foot got in there. Good call.
Not much of an argument. Give DeWitt an RBI. It's now a 6-2 game on the fielder's choice. And here is Castro, already 3 for 4. In case you wonder, the last Cub with 200 hits in a season was Juan Pierre. That was 5 years ago. He had 204. Don't know if Castro's going to get there, but he's up to 156 and counting with this at bat.
They say he's on pace for 208 hits on the year. If he continues to get 3-hit games, he'll exceed expectations. Christian Martinez still a little upset about that play at the plate. And that's the tough job of a pitcher. You got to let that go. That's the difference between great pitchers. They can let that go and get the next guy.
Castro thinking about a homer. He hit one in the 9th last night. He's hit 7 for the season. Up to 55 RBIs out of the leadoff spot for Chicago.
That was one of those swings that reminds me of Andrew Jones. We were playing against the Yankees and Roger Clemens was pitching. He swung like that. The next pitch was drilled right in his back. The game's a little different now.
Funny story, Bob Gibson years ago in spring training, one guy stood in the batter's box and held his hand up to ask for time. He sort of held his hand up to Bob Gibson while he was digging a toe hold with his foot. Gibson grabbed the baseball and asked the guy as he marched to the plate, "Is the hole deep enough?" He said, "No, because you're going to be in it." So,
one of my all-time favorites. And being a Cardinal, I got a chance to spend a lot of spring trainings with Bob Gibson.
Deep short, and Castro a 4-hit game. Colvin scores to make it 7-2.
Wow.
Starlin Castro's made a believer out of me in the first 2 games of this series. That's his 4th 4-hit game.
This kid is good. That's a pitch away from him, and he was able to pull that ball back through the hole at short and third.
So Christian Martinez goes an inning and a third in relief. He's given up a couple of runs. He's done that on 2 Chicago hits. Big lead for the Cubs, 7-2. Starlin Castro's had a huge game, Brian, with 4 hits. And Braves haven't had many chances to score tonight. And trail 7-2. AT&T call to the bullpen features Anthony Varvaro. He'll come on to face Darwin Barney. The Cubs already with 2 across in this 8th inning.
Darwin Barney looking for his 4th hit of the night. And that 1-2 combination has worked really well together tonight. 7 hits between them already. A career, well, matching a career high for Starlin Castro, 4 hits. He get one more at bat, watch out. He is seeing the ball really good.
I can tell you, Brian, if he does, it'll be a very bad night for the Braves. Here's Barney. was a strike from Varvaro. Anthony's done a nice job. Power arm. Racked up his share of strikeouts in relief for the Braves. In 8 1/3 innings, Varvaro has struck out 16 men. Has walked 6.
Has one of those power arms. Not a big guy, but an electric fastball. Not a lot of movement on that fastball, though.
Into center field. That'll drop in front of Bourne. And another run will come across. This one, Blake DeWitt. Barney with 4 hits. Castro with 4 hits.
Got a slider. And this is a good pitch. Slider down in the zone. Darwin Barney goes down and get it.
Well, no one in Atlanta is singing "I Love You" to that Barney.
Look at the smile on the young man.
He was 2 for 20 coming in. He's 4 for 5 tonight. And Chicago leads 8-2 with 13 hits. Ramos Ramirez down a strike. He's 1 for 3.
That was Barney's career high in hits in the game, 4.
And now 0-2. Phillies are up 11-3 on Washington tonight. Braves picked up a game last night. They're 7.5 back. Phillies might get that game back unless the Braves rally late. Arizona leads the Mets 5-4. That's in the 5th. Giants are in Florida and winning 3-0. Tim Lincecum, I believe, was the starter in that game tonight.
That pitching staff is just unbelievable.
But right now for the Giants, Brian, it's the offense. Well, like last year, they're having trouble scoring runs.
And I thought they made a great deal in bringing Carlos Beltran over to San Francisco, but he hasn't helped so far.
He's hurt. Got a bad wrist. Not sure if he's gone to the DL for San Francisco tonight. But there was talk of that being possible. Back to Giants. There's a great article out in the, I believe, San Jose Mercury News the other day. The Giants are on pace to score 560 runs. That's it. And since the 162 game schedule was implemented, no team has ever won the World Series scoring less than 600 runs in regular season play. That might be put to the test with that great pitching staff you mentioned.
Well, the weird thing is they're still in the race despite that terrible offense. And we saw last year, I think no one gave them a chance to be the world champions.
Well,
they found a way.
If you only need to score one.
Exactly. They did it last year. So I'm not counting the Giants out at all.
That's a wise bet. They're 2 back of Arizona at the start of tonight's play. And Ramirez pop up, foul ground, and out of play, 1-2.
How frustrated is Aramis Ramirez? So the franchise guy for the Cubs for so long. Just another disappointing year on the third baseman.
back our way. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ramirez came over to the Cubs in 2003. That was a big pickup made by Chicago at the trading deadline. And I was working with the Cubs then. That trade was announced when they were here in Atlanta. And Kenny Lofton came over in that deal as well.
He's such a good player. I have so much respect for him. Plays the game hard.
High fly driven to right. And Costanza's got it. Tagging at second, moving to third is Castro. And 2 are out for Chicago in the 8th inning. Ramirez tonight is 1 for 4 with an RBI. Our copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club Incorporated. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of our game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Braves. Carlos Pena. Pena, a 2-run double tonight.
Look at his average, 221, but look at his production, 22 home runs, 63 RBIs. Still getting it done.
That'll be one of the continuing debates in baseball. How do you measure a hitter's worth? By batting average, homers, runs, RBIs, or on base percentage? Because if you look at those 2 different things, you probably come to 2 different conclusions about the kind of year Pena's had. Pena's walked 69 times. His on base percentage is .344.
There you have it.
But he's hitting a .221 with 22 homers and 60 knocked in, and he scored 52. You look at the scoreboard, you say, wow, he's having a bad year. But he's scoring runs, he's driving in runs, and he's hitting the ball out of the park. That ball is socked. But Constanza in front of the bullpen fence hauls it in, and Pena spikes the helmet. That's a homer at Wrigley, but these aren't the friendly confines for the Chicago Cubs, who lead 8-2. By AT&T Uverse, by McDonald's, and by Toyota. 8-2 Cubs as we head to the Braves' half of the 8th inning. And while we have a moment, here's our Toyota play of the game. The Alumni versus the 91 Braves. We'll have to wait till next year to decide a champion of the pregame softball match.
Say it's not so, Chip. John Smoltz hits a game-tying home run. He'll be talking about that for the next 3 weeks. Well, you remember when I hit that 2-run homer to tie the ball game? What an awesome guy, John Smoltz, though. He loves the glamour. He loves the spotlight.
So that game ended 7-7. Let's see if the Braves can score 7 here. That'd be nice. Ortiz on to pitch. And Chipper in the gap. Ball dropped. He's going to try for 2. Bird from his knees. Gets it to the cutoff man late. Good start to the 8th inning. Chipper on for the 3rd time tonight.
Chipper hits this ball off the end of their bat, but he hits it in the right spot. Colvin trying to make a good effort. Marlin a little nervous about Colvin running after that ball, and I don't blame him.
Leadoff double is the scoring for Chipper. And here's Alex Gonzalez.
Those 3 hits by Chipper, his average up to 273. He is starting to feel it.
Ramon Ortiz. Tony Campana stays in the game. He's playing left. Soriano's out of the game. And Ortiz, who worked 2/3 of an inning with a strikeout last night, has a 2-0 count for Alex Gonzalez.
Alex Gonzalez, an RBI single his last time up, hit the ball hard up the middle. Good to see him get back on track with a hit.
Squibb towards second. Chipper no advance. And he'll stay at second with 1 man out.
Really surprised Chipper stayed on second. The ball hit to the right side of the field. That's an easy ball to get over to third base. And you got to wonder.
It's kind of opposite night on the base paths. He tried to take third on a ground ball hit right at him at shortstop. That was in the Braves' 4th inning.
That's when you start thinking too much. But then again, you just hope that his knee is not bothering him. He didn't want to take a chance.
David Ross bats. David 1 for 3. Anyway, Brian McCann did rehab, caught 5 innings, hit a home run at Gwinnett tonight. Afterwards, we understand, told reporters that he's pronounced himself fit and ready to go tomorrow. We'll see if he is indeed activated by the Braves. Brian's quote was something along the lines of, hey, the oblique's feeling better. It's time for me to get back there and play.
That's right. He is chomping at the bit to join his exciting teammates.
Letter high strike, 2-1 the count.
Think about it, Chip. Brian has yet to have a chance to play with this newfound speed in his lineup. So he's excited about driving in some runs. RBI total is going up.
Think about how much deeper this Braves lineup is going to be. Taking nothing away from David Ross. A single to center. And Bird fires one to the plate. So a Chipper taken third on that ground out. Braves would have scored their 3rd run. As it stands, though, they're in business, 1st and 3rd with 1 away.
See Chipper kind of bending over there early. You got to wonder.
Mike Quade, the Cubs manager, is on his way out, and he's going to go to his bullpen. And that'll be the end of the line for right-hander Ramon Ortiz. 2 on, 1 out. Braves still alive, down 8-2 in the 8th. first and third with one out, and another Cubs reliever is on. It's the fourth of the night, left-hander James Russell. And he has been the Cubs' stopper as far as opponents' rallies are concerned. He's allowed just 7 of 31 inherited runners to come home and score this year. And he's got Chipper Jones 90 feet away at third base, David Ross at first, and Jose Constanza ready to stand in the batter's box. Eric Hinski's grabbed a bat as well. He'll stand in the on-deck circle and hopefully hit next here for Atlanta.
Costanza's one of those guys, defensively, you got to wonder where you're going to play him. Do you play your infield in, your corners in? Thinking bunt. He will bunt at any time.
The Braves need a big inning. Down 6. And 5 outs with which to play.
See Ramos at third base playing in for the bunt. Chip had a chance to talk to Freddie Gonzalez before the game about, looking at the Costanza situation. Jason Haywood, you got to ride the hot guy, and how does that affect Jason Haywood? And the bottom line, he said, we're going to need Jason Haywood. We're going to need his power. He's a great defender, but Costanza right now is just playing some good baseball, and mentally, the Jay Hay kid is struggling. And he might be struggling with this move, but he's going to have to continue to work hard in the cage. And it's going to take him one good day, I think, to really break out of that slump all year. I mean, right now it's becoming mental for Jay Hay. He had the injury to his shoulder, a little unsure for most of the season. And but it's still time. I mean, you're going to need him in September.
And he's 22. I mean, that's the part everybody forgets.
Right.
I mean, his first major league swing was a homer against Carlos Zambrano, and the legend was born. As a tapper back to the mound, bobbled, and that nearly cost Russell, and then Chipper on the throw comes home on the play. Good base running by Chipper. The speed of Constanza bought the Braves a third run. David Ross to second, but 2 outs in an 8-3 game.
Costanza just putting the ball in play, putting it on the ground. James Russell, once he bobbled it, didn't want to go to second base. Good read by Chipper Jones. Not once did James Russell look at third base. Chipper knew it.
Now Hinski will bat. Or Varvaro in the 8th. Brad, I'm sure you went through a certain degree what Jason's gone through. Not one, but 2 professional sports. I mean, it's got to be an incredible adjustment.
Well, baseball is a humbling sport, and right now, after having all the success in that first year, and the unfair comparison of Hank Aaron and Jason Hayward, a lot of pressure on that young man coming into this season. And for him, getting injured in spring training, not really wanting to say anything because all the high expectations, it was overwhelming for him. And then as he went on the DL trying to rehab that shoulder, you hear all the media, the pressure of getting back in there. The 70% Haywood is better than 100% of anybody else. And that got to him. And to come back and continue to struggle, that has a long-lasting effect mentally on a young man.
Well, but as you know, in a season, it's not how you start, but how you finish.
It's how you finish. In September, the Braves will need him to come through.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Hinski as we approach 10 o'clock in the East.
By all means, nobody has given up on Jason Hayward. I mean, he has great potential. But mentally, he has to feel healthy and go out there and compete at a top level like we know he can.
And a swing and a miss by Eric retires the side for Atlanta in the 8th. Chipper Jones scores the game's 3rd run for Atlanta, and we head to inning number 9. Even up this series and a game apiece tonight at Turner Field. Braves make another AT&T call to the bullpen. And it'll be left-hander George Sherrill. George has had a good run this year. This is his 48th game of the season.
You remember when George Sherrill got off to a slow start, so many critics was all over him. All of a sudden, he found that confidence, and he has been huge versus lefties in the second half of the season.
George picked up a win 2 outings ago down in Florida on August 9th. That was his 3rd victory of the year. He last pitched 3 nights ago down in Florida as well. Struck out a man in 2/3 of an inning's worth of work. Here in the 9th, he'll have Marlon Byrd, Tony Campana, and Tyler Colvin coming up for the Cubs. Got to hold him here and hope for a big 9th, where the top of the order will come up for Atlanta. Here's Marlon Byrd, 0 for 4. He struck out a couple of times. Ball 1. Phillies did win tonight. They beat the Nationals 11-3. I believe that was Roy Oswalt going tonight for the Phillies.
San Francisco wins over Florida. A chance for them, if the Braves can't come back, to pick up a game in that wild card.
It was Oswalt for the Phillies. John Lannon started for the Nationals, and if Lannon lost, you know how much trouble he gives the Braves?
I know.
John Lannon, if he lost the game tonight, will be 1-11 all time against the Phillies. 1-10 going into play tonight. Sooner or later, that's got to even out, doesn't it?
You would think so. But for some reason, he just has the number of the Braves.
And the Phillies wear out Washington. That's another difference between the Braves and Phillies this year. And really the last couple of years since the Expos moved to our nation's capital.
You would think that would be different, because you got a left-handed dominant lineup in the Phillies. And facing a left-handed pitcher in Landon, they hit him well.
It's the maddening beauty of baseball. Ground ball toward third. In between hop. And Marlon Byrd is 0 for 5 tonight, one away in the ninth. Tony Campana.
Tony Campana showed his speed. Pinch running for Alfonso back in the 8th inning.
And he lines one past Chipper into left.
No need to finish that comment. Back on first base and a chance to continue to show his speed.
Well, you hear the fans below us. Tony went to UNC Asheville for a while and then graduated from the University of Cincinnati, which I believe is where Kevin Youkilis played ball. All Big East first teamer. Just turned 25 years old in May. 5'8", 165 pounds. And quickly becoming a fan favorite in Chicago. Here's Tyler Colvin.
Pretty good night for Tyler. 2 for 4, double, triple, and a run scored. Actually 2 runs scored. Good fastball down and in by George Sherrill.
You know, Tyler's got a lot of friends at the ballpark. Starred at Clemson University. Lives in North Augusta, South Carolina in the offseason. First round pick by the Cubs in 06. One ball, 2 strikes. One reason why Colvin has been a little slow in developing. He had Tommy John surgery on his elbow. It was in November of 2008. Hear about pitchers having that surgery. He's a position player. This one popped up. Dan Ugla at second is going to haul that in. And Colvin is the second out. Here's Soto. Giovanni is hitless tonight, but he has scored a run. Came home in the Cubs' 6th. Derek Lowe started 10 hits, 5 runs in 6 innings.
Soto has spent 11 seasons in the Cubs organization.
And he'll spend a nanosecond in the batter's box and ground out to third to retire the side in the ninth. Top of the order coming up for Atlanta. Need a big inning. It's an 8-3 Chicago advantage.
take long. .27 for the year.
And that was his second hit of the night. That solo home run.
Solo shot.
And his hitting streak, a Atlanta franchise record, 33 games. And he will go to work against Matt Garza in the series wrap-up here tomorrow. Braves, though, have some work to do in the ninth inning. 3 outs left, down 5 runs. 8-3 is your score. And Russell will continue on for Chicago with Bourne, Prado, and Freeman, 2 left-hand hitters, greeting him among the first 3 due up.
The thing that I like about that home run by Uglin was it was a slider down and away. And that's a pitch that he had so much trouble with early in the season. And he reached out there and hit that straightaway center field. That's tough to do. That's a strong man, Dan Uglin.
Michael Bourne 1 for 4 tonight. And he is not a quick strike. Crowd tonight, 49,781. Braves and Cubs drew over 50,000 last night. Expecting big crowds here tomorrow for the series wrap-up. Autograph sessions out on the plaza. All the Braves alumni will be here. And our last look at home against the Chicago Cubs. Barney charges, and a perfect throw, 1 out.
That's knowing your speed. As Barney came flying in, easy play for him.
Here's Martin Prado. He's 0 for 4.
I'm really impressed with the middle infield of the Cubs, Castro and Barney. Both have 4 hits on the night, making some excellent defensive plays.
Well, they're going to go through their growing pains here at the major league level, especially in the case of the shortstop, Castro. Told you earlier, 19 errors. Hey, man, you're leading off for the Cubs. You lead your league in hits. You're hitting over 300. Pretty impressive pedigree already for that youngster.
And if you're the general manager, say, I'll take those 19 errors. You're going to produce in every other area like he has.
Lined over second, and Martin Prado has a hit. And now Freddie Freeman bats. Freddie singled in the first.
Freddie Freeman hitting .248 versus lefties coming into tonight's game. Five home runs.
And 1-2. Into right field. That's going to drop. Martin Prado and the Braves wisely play it station to station, down 5 runs. 2 on, 1 out. Dan Uggla coming up.
Good piece of hitting by Freddie Freeman. Fastball up in the zone. And as I said, Freddie is so relaxed on that inside pitch now. He's turning on everything. Dropped that ball to right field for the second single of the game.
And Carlos Marmol, the Chicago closer, is beginning to loosen up. You can get to him, you have a chance. Yes, he's terrific, but he can be awfully erratic. One swing could make it an 8-6 game off the bat of Dan Uglow, who's already homered as we showed you tonight.
Good looking slider by James Russell. Seems to be his out pitch. Shows good command of that one pitch. There we see it again.
Rally caps, or whatever rally article of clothing you choose to employ would be appreciated here in the ninth.
Like Ugly fouled that off his knee. Pretty nasty slider breaking in.
Not a bad idea, but that tells you how well Dan's seeing the baseball. Spoiled a good slider, then took one off the outside corner and has a 2-2 count.
It was close, but a good take by Ugly. Pretty good pitch by James Russell, though, after throwing so many sliders in there. Fastball away down in the zone.
Now it's a full count. Drilled into the seats.
James Russell got that slider in just enough to where Ugly couldn't do anything but foul this ball down the line.
He walked him. And Russell with a long look in. Can't believe that. So 2 singles and a walk have loaded the bases in the ninth.
It's a tough 3-2 pitch to take here. Ugly kind of jumps back, but that ball looked like it was on the inside corner of that strike zone.
So the Cubs trying to gift wrap it in the ninth inning. 8-3 Chicago. Bases loaded. New pitcher coming on. Braves in the ninth inning. Prado and Freeman with singles. Dan Ugla takes ball 4 to load the bases. And now you have the roller coaster ride that is Carlos Marmol on to try to finish off this game for Chicago. It's an 8-3 Braves deficit here in the ninth.
Well, if you're a Braves fan, you hope he's on that back on that first roller coaster with the 15.19 ERA. But he's been next to perfect his last 8 games, Chip.
The Cubs, just in case, employ a double switch. They bring on Reed Johnson to play right field. Johnson would bat ninth if we get to a 10th inning. Chipper Jones will stand in. Chipper with a 3-hit night tonight. A couple of doubles and a single. He's also scored an 8th inning run. And this is the kind of guy, Brian, where you really hope your offense is patient.
Well, you almost have to be in this situation. Bases loaded, 1 out, bottom of the ninth. You want to make the pitcher throw strike 1.
And he did.
Chipper's such a good veteran. He knows that.
Swing and a drive toward right. Reed Johnson going back, and he'll reach up and haul it in. A run will score. Martin will be the 4th Atlanta tally. Freddie Freeman moves to 3rd, but that cost the Braves a 2nd out the ninth. Sac fly. And Chipper's 53rd RBI.
Chipper just missed that pitch. Good swing on the ball. Good job by Reed Johnson getting back and making a play. A situation like this, Cubs outfield is playing very deep. If that ball was hit early in the game, it would have had a chance to get down.
The Braves aren't done yet. Still an out to get for Chicago. 8-4 now, 1st and 3rd with 2 down.
Alex 1 for 4, RBI tonight.
And hits in 12 of the last 13 games. Little flare into center and caught by Castro. And that will end the ball game. The Cubs even up the series, and they beat the Braves tonight at Turner Field by a final score of 8-4. How fitting is that picture? The top of the Cubs order, Brian Jordan, was terrific. Castro and Barney, each with 4 hit